We are very excited to have a new subject in our series. Usually our series are sort of focused around career and employment topics, but today we have Jenna Story, who's a member of our academic skills team at the SSC. So she is our in-house expert on how to beat procrastination and time management. So I welcome her today, and I hope that you find the session really helpful. We will be recording this video today, so if you happen to like a recording after, just feel free to send us a message. I'll put it in the chat, and we'll make sure that gets out to you. And Jenna, are we able to send out? Can we send out a copy of the slides after the session as well?
Yeah, I can send that off.
All right, awesome. All right, well, welcome, Jenna.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were going to say more.
No, I think that's about it, yeah.
Thanks, everyone. I know that your time is valuable, and I do appreciate that so many of you are here joining us. I hope that I can give you some really practical strategies that you can use in terms of avoiding procrastination and managing your time. If you do have any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat during the session, but I will be seeing if there are any questions at the end. So you can jot some ideas down, or you can put them into the chat as we're going through. So again, thank you so much for having me join this session today. Here's a look at the agenda that we were going to get started with. It's difficult to compartmentalize procrastination and to compartmentalize time management. So many different things, like you could see here, the goal setting, the staying focused, the staying motivated, are all intertwined when we're looking at issues of procrastination and time management, which is why we'll get started by looking at goal setting. We'll take a look at the many causes of procrastination, why people procrastinate, and then we'll take a look at how to then overcome it. There are some specific strategies. Some work well for particular reasons for avoiding tasks, and then we'll jump into 2 specific time management tools, and then we'll take a look at how we can stay focused and motivated in order to achieve our goals, avoid procrastination, and manage our time better. If there's a presentation, you may be hearing some clicking in the background, and that is Hannah moving from one of her pet beds to another, to another, to another. So enjoy that clicking. Hopefully there are no cat fights, but there may be one, so stay tuned for that. We'll see how this goes. So let's get started with some goal setting and what that looks like. I will be asking you, and I'll be giving you some time as well during this session, to think about what some of your short, intermittent, and long-term goals are. And you may have heard of SMART goals, and I will be asking you and giving you an opportunity to think about, reflect, get started on creating a SMART goal. So why are goals important? Why do I normally start these sessions with goal setting? I do support undergrad students, and we have our own tip sheets, and we also have workshops solely dedicated to goal setting. But it is important to talk about, like I said, when we're looking at time management in particular. So goals really are important because they help us determine our priorities. We do have to pause. We have to think about, what is it that's really important to me? What is it that I want to accomplish on the short term, medium range goals, and then what are my long-term goals? And they can help you stay motivated. They can help you stay accountable, primarily when you're checking in with yourself often, frequently, setting due dates for you to reflect on what your goals are, and then you can determine whether you need to reset them, redefine them, or whether you are currently on the right path. So to master time management, like I said, it's really important to think about what your goals are, what your priorities are, because then you can manage your time. So what I'm going to ask you to do, and I'm going to give you some time. You can use some pen and paper if you have it near you. You can use a device if that's more convenient. But I do want to give you some time to jot down, what are your immediate, short, and long range goals. I'll turn off my video, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do that. So I will see you back here in 2 minutes. And I am back. I put into the chat one of my long-term goals. I need to create a SMART goal for it. Right now it's a dream. It's a dream without deadlines, without a plan, but I do need to start working on this dream that I have, which is having a farm animal sanctuary and be surrounded by goats, chickens, and pigs, and cows, and some barn cats, and dogs, and maybe even some alpacas. So I put into the chat what my long-term goal is. And I see here that someone wants to start scuba diving again. That is fantastic. And oh no, all of their gear is in Mexico. Well, at least you know that you will one day go back to Mexico to pick up that gear and scuba dive again. So hopefully it's not too long of a goal, but we don't know what's going to happen in this world right now. Anyone else have any exciting, fun, unusual, unique goals that they want to share with the group? Whether it's a short-term goal, medium, or something that you want to do in the future after maybe retirement. And so, like I said, my goal of the farm animal sanctuary is something currently that's a dream because I don't have any actions associated with right now. So in order to do that, I need to take that dream, turn it into a goal, and I do that with one way by having a SMART goal. And you may have heard of that before. And what it is making a plan. So and I'll give an example of perhaps it's middle of February, maybe someone's resolution was to get healthy. So is it specific? Is it in terms of a goal weight? Is it in terms of measurements? Is it in terms of health tests? So you want to make it as specific as possible. How is it that you can measure the M of the SMART goal? How is it that you can measure and evaluate it? Is it through testing, through measurements, how you feel? How is it that you know that you're on the journey towards succeeding and achieving this goal? Is it within your scope to achieve it? Is it a particular goal weight that you think is quite attainable? 5 pounds maybe decreasing some scoring that you have. Is it relevant in your life? Is it something that you really want to achieve? Is it important to you? Is it something that may affect other dreams and goals that you have? And then how is it time bound? You want to lose a particular amount of weight in 5 months. So that would be time bound because then you can check in a month, 2, 3, 4, and you can reflect on it. You can see how achievable it is, how you're doing with that goal. You may need to reflect and you may need to refine it, but it is something that's time bound. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. I'm going to ask you to choose one of the goals that you have, whether it's short, medium, a long-term goal, and I want you to create a SMART goal for one of them. So in 2 minutes, we will reconvene. Hi, everyone. So when we're looking at our SMART goal, it's important to jot it down. It's important to reflect on it, but it's also important to put it somewhere, save it, store it somewhere that you can refer back to it, because that can help you stay focused and motivated because it's something that you continue to check in with. If you didn't have enough time to complete it, please feel free to look at this particular goal that you decided to work on, but then you can also work on those other goals that you have as well. And it's one of many tools, but a very effective one when it comes to setting and achieving your goals. In the next section, we then need to focus on procrastination so that we can achieve the goals that we have set out for ourselves. And I'll take a look at some of the causes of procrastination and probably more importantly, how is it that we can overcome procrastination? Something that I like sharing with students and alumni is the thoughts of Alice Boys, because a lot of people think that procrastinators are lazy, and that just isn't true. People procrastinate because there is a negative emotion that comes up with a particular task. And because we don't want to relive, go through, experience these negative emotions because of a task, it then causes us to freeze and not continue with the task. So it's really important to realize that because a lot of negative self-talk can come out when we're looking at it's because I'm lazy or someone else is talking about laziness, and it really, really is not true. But there are some specific triggers that we can take a look at and then come up with some solutions to overcome. And there are many here that I'm going to talk to. Here is a little cat hiding, procrastinating from something. And you don't have to share, are there any that are really specific to why you're avoiding tasks? But I am curious and I will be asking, are these ones that resonate with you? So there may be a fear of the task. You're not sure how to get started. You don't know what the process is. You don't know what the finished results are going to be, and because of that, there's a putting off of the task. The task, whether it's important, whether it's doing the dishes, could be annoying, difficult, uninteresting. And because there is a frustration with the task, not surprising, some people avoid that feeling. Just gonna move that over there. There may be perfectionism. Lots and lots of people, regardless of students, lots of people that I talk to are perfectionists. And until they know when the task is going to be perfect, whether it's an assignment or something in life that needs to be perfect, there's such anxiety stemming from that that there is avoidance. Perhaps there was an experience that was quite negative. You don't want to go through that negative feeling anymore. You're worried that that is going to be the experience, and so there's avoidance. Just like doing dishes, the effort may not be very strong, the reward even less, but because there isn't a lot of reward coming from it except sparkling clean glasses, there may be an avoidance of that particular task. There may be a reluctance to ask for help, seek help. If I ask for help, that means that there's a weakness in me. Of course, that's not true, but there are those who avoid tasks because of a reluctance to ask for help. There is a fear or loss of reputation, a social comparison, comparing yourself to others around you, whether that's a realistic comparison or not. There's often this fear of reputation, and so there's avoidance. There may be a task that is quite boring and may not be necessarily the strongest of negative emotions, but it is something that you don't want to go through. Nobody enjoys being bored, and so there is a avoidance. And then finally, one of the ways that those of us who procrastinate are doing so is because there's a resentment of the task, so a much stronger emotion of you really resent it, you don't want to go through it, you're questioning why you have to do it, and so there is an avoidance. Just like I said, I'm not looking for anyone to say what particular reason there is that they procrastinate, but I am curious whether I'm on the right track in sharing different reasons why people procrastinate. So perhaps in the chat, yes or no, are there any statements that resonate with you? And so then, of course, yes, that sounds like me. And then it leads to, sure, Jenna, I procrastinate. These are reasons why I procrastinate, but what is it that I can do about it? That's the important thing. So there are 7 different strategies for success that I'll go through. Some of them lend themselves better to others. Some of them resonate better with others. There are some that I go to when I'm procrastinating, and there are probably ones that you tend to go through. And then hopefully there are some that I'm presenting and chatting about that you can start trying. And the first one here is about mindfulness. And when I first learned or heard about mindfulness, I thought it was about yoga and journaling. And those are 2 things that I do not do, nor do I intend to start to do. But what I learned through research and conversations with experts is that mindfulness is about being present in the moment. It's not about ruminating about the past failures, the past negative feelings. It's not worried about the future, about perfectionism. It's about staying in the present moment. What is it that you can do to feel connected? Is it something like music? Is it, for me, walking Hannah down the street? Is it baking, cooking, knitting, learning a new hobby? Is it reaching out to others? It could be journaling, it could be yoga, and maybe it's adult coloring. It's something that brings you to the present so you can concentrate and then think about what your next step is. Another way to avoid procrastination is to minimize your obstacles. Sometimes we can plan for them, and then other times we know that we can't. So something that you could do is cultivating good habits. What is it that you can do to avoid these obstacles coming up? I'll share one story that I heard about that really helped me out, and it's called the 20-second activity. If there was one person who wanted to start jogging, something I'll never relate to, but they wanted to start jogging every single morning. And they had their alarm beside their bed. And every morning the alarm went off, they turned it off, and they went back to sleep. So they thought, what is it I can do in that first 20 seconds to help me get motivated? And what they did is they moved their alarm clock to the other side of the room. So the next day when the alarm went off, they had to get up out of bed and they had to go turn it off. And they thought, well, all right, I'm already up, so I might as well put on my running shoes and start running. And that helped them. So when you're in a situation where perhaps it's even that same thing that keeps coming up, the staying in bed, the rolling over after turning off the alarm, what is it that you can do within that first 20 seconds to help you get out of procrastination? So that's one way that you can plan for obstacles. Another strategy is to set some really concrete goals, similar to what we were talking about with the SMART goal. What is your end date? And then maybe have some mini deadlines where you can check in with yourself, have a schedule where you can see some different points. Maybe goals are checking in with other people. What is it that you need to do? How do you need to do it? When do you need to do it by? So create some sort of schedule in terms of goal setting. And then 4 more here, chunking. Chunking is a really important strategy for so many different skill sets that we have. And one of them is with procrastination. Instead of saying you have one very large, vague goal, be specific and then break down particular tasks associated with that larger chunk of time. You can then take a look again at mini deadlines. You can check in with people. And then also when you're chunking, it takes less time at that specific moment, perhaps not the overall time dedicated, but if you're looking at maybe 30 minutes, what is it that you can do in 30 minutes take a break, go in for 30 minutes, take another break. So you want to chunk that task. Because again, saying you have a large project coming up can be overwhelming, but that's why you want to break it down. You could find someone to be accountable to as well. You could find someone like a study buddy, life buddy, accountability friend. I did put bracket focused. It's important to have someone who's on your side, who can support you, someone you can check in with your successes, as well as things that you're having challenges with. Everyone has distractions. For a lot of people, that is their devices. For other people, it's things going on in the home. So one way to avoid procrastination is to modify your environment. What is it right now as you look around your space that's distracting you? And of course, just because we know what distracts you, you also have to make a plan to avoid that distraction. I also put on a little tip here. I didn't quite know where to fit it in, so I put it under modifying the environment because it's something immediate. And that is starting the task. Sometimes there are things like, again, doing dishes that we want to avoid. So start with 5 minutes. Just do the cutlery and then take a break. But what you might find is you're already here, your hands are already soapy, you already have some new cutlery that's all shiny. So then you go on and do something else. So sometimes you find 5 minutes turns into 10, 15, 20. So that's why I put it into there. Yeah, thank you. Let me just see here. Monica, yes, starting is often the hardest thing. So if you say to yourself, 5 minutes, I could probably go on the treadmill for 5 minutes. And then when I get to 5 minutes, maybe I could do 6 because I got to start slow. So 6, and then 7, and then 8. And after 8, I may stop. But then maybe tomorrow, again, I start with that 5-minute rule. And what I found when talking to students, as well as my friends, is that the 5-minute rule or suggestion often really helps. And then the final way to work through setbacks, really accept them. We all are going to have setbacks. We'll talk about it more towards the end of the session. We're going to have them, accept them, reflect on them, and what is it that you can do to help avoid the next one. So that was my information on procrastination. By avoiding procrastination, you have a better chance of achieving your goals. And with time management, you can then see, because a lot of people think that they're intertwined, and they are somewhat, but really time management is with the actual time constraints, whereas procrastination is that negative emotion associated with it. And a lot of people struggle with time. I talk to them about it, and I ask them, what plans have they used? What tools are they using? What does their environment look like? Is there really too much to do? And what resources have they reached out to in order to support them? And 2 things that I wanted to share with you is the to-do list as well as the weekly schedule. And I'm curious, does anyone here use a to-do list or a weekly schedule currently? Any to-do listers? Weekly schedules you may have used more so as a student, but hopefully I can convince you that it's important to continue to use a weekly schedule. And so we'll start by looking at the to-do list. My to-do list right here, I currently only have one to-do list on the go. There are many days where I have a list of my lists. So I might have something large like create workshop, and then I'm breaking it down into and chunking it really. And so when we're looking at a to-do list, what are the benefits of it? Why start using a to-do list? And I see a lot of you are using them, so you understand the reasons. You can jot down your short-term goals. What is it that you want to do today within the next 2 or 3 days? perfectly acceptable to carry over tasks over to the next day, depending on the length of it and your comfort level with having a multi-day to-do list. Important to prioritize the tasks on your list. What is it that needs to get done now, as opposed to maybe later this afternoon or even tomorrow? There's a sense of accountability similar to the SMART goal. You're much more accountable to it if it's something that you reflect on. Mine is on paper and it's at my workspace in the home. I'm not a device person, so if yours is on your device, is it something you're continuing to check in with? I'm not going to lie, and I hope there are others who do the same, but I also do put off really easy items that I might even be finishing within the next half hour, simply so I can cross them off, because I take that sense of accountability and motivation and completeness into the rest of the day. So how to use it? You can use notebooks, you could use apps, you could use devices, sticky notes, whatever is more comfortable to you. But again, it's that accountability piece. You want to list down your tasks. You may need to reference it and recreate it to then prioritize. You want to break down your larger tasks. And some people take it a bit step further and they determine how much time is required for each of these different tasks, which then lends itself nicely to the weekly schedule. You can see here that this is one related to a class schedule, but you can simply swap that out and put in some other tasks. You would still include things like the volunteer, the work, family responsibilities, but the benefits of a weekly schedule and keeping a weekly schedule is that you then become more aware of the hours you actually have. In particular, with someone who says, I don't have enough hours in the day, I can then see there are some small bits of time in between tasks. And that's where we find that time to complete. It's also a good way to find time to chunking tasks as well. You can then include your short range goals, and a lot of us include our reward time. Very helpful when it comes to motivation, like dangling that carrot. If I get through creating this, if I do all my outreach here, then I get to blank. And that is your own self-care and your reward time. And so how to use it? You can input tasks that fall on particular days or times. Job, volunteer, other responsibilities. You can put in your reward time. Some people go the extra mile. I don't do it, but they call it calendar blocking. And that's when every chunk of the day has something associated with it, including breaks, lunch, sleep, exercise, etc. I am a huge fan of color coding. I always have been. I'm quite a visual person. And so that also helps me see how much time I'm associating with one particular activity. Like, wow, there's a lot of green time. Maybe I need to focus on increasing the blue time, whatever that particular task is. Something really specific to job seeking and time management, I thought would be a good use of this session. And so some specific strategies when seeking employment. Just like in school, just like, in life, routine is really important. I am a very routine-based person. And so for me, it will be quite easy. And for others, that's why the weekly calendar is really important, is creating that routine. So in particular to a job search, you're searching during the same amount of time each day. And that, of course, depends on the time that you have available to you. You want to take breaks. Again, it helps with concentration. And it also helps move short-term information into long-term information. Research has also shown that this 5-minute break really should be a nature break. It's not moving from one cognitive task to another, from one screen to another. It can be getting outside. If it's too cold, rainy, snowy. For me, if it's too hot, just go to the window and take a look outside, do some stretching, look at the trees, look at the birds. But that's what research has indicated as the best way to allow your brain to have a little bit of a break before diving back in. Using scheduling tools really important to seeking employment, your to-do list, your weekly schedule, and also about commitment. I've heard different people sharing their own strategies of seeking employment, and it's the time commitment in terms of treating it like a job. If you're working 7-8 hours a day, then the commitment should be 7 to 8 hours a day of seeking employment. And part of that can be researching. Who is it that you want to research? Research the company. Research and think about your reasons for why you want to apply to that. Make your search really individual. Take a look at your cover letters, your resumes, and making it really specific. In this time as well, you can focus on skill or task development. You can focus on spending some time updating your resume. You can take a look at areas or places or people that can help you with mock interviews. Avoiding distraction is really important. And then if you're someone who enjoys, prefers journaling, you can also track your work and reflect on it, even reflecting on feelings that are coming up in terms of procrastination. So a few strategies right here that are specific to the job search. Overall, when we're looking at time management, there are some additional strategies that you can take advantage of. And some of those include setting realistic goals. I really want this animal farm sanctuary. Is it realistic? Maybe not. It might interfere with other retirement goals that I have. So my time is right now spent on other things. You may think that you are an excellent multitasker. I know that I am, but research shows that we are, and not surprising, better single taskers. I ask a lot of students if they're a night person or a morning person, and more often than not, I get night people, and I tell them that I will never be able to relate to them. I'm the person who's up early in the morning, and I'm done around 4:35, and that's just me time. When I was a student, I didn't do work after 5. When I was a teacher for 13 years, I didn't work at home after 5, and now I don't do work after 5. That's my reward time. But I am the person who would work through lunch, be in the library in between classes, and using those small chunks of time. It really doesn't matter if you're a morning or a night person, as long as you're being productive and not scheduling things outside of that, because you're really setting yourself up for failure. Creating a productive environment. Do you have all of your tools, your devices, your resources on hand? Everyone knows how they waste their time. It's really different for everybody. So you want to start reflecting on how you can cut that out. Some tasks, some volunteer, family responsibilities, they may take longer than you expected, and that's okay. If you are using the weekly calendar, what you can do is actually start scheduling in some, I call it buffer time. Some time where you have it scheduled that you can get some catch-up time. Tips. Again, rewarding yourself, including self-care, and finding supporters to keep you on task. And I could see you're bad at multitasking, but it's hard. It sure is. Sometimes there just isn't enough time in the day, it feels like. So it is hard to avoid, but when you can be a really focused single tasker, that's sometimes the best that we can do. Oops. All right, so the next one, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. I can try this new strategy. I'm so excited. Jen is so amazing. Look at all the things she's sharing with me. But then next week comes and maybe you're having a little bit of trouble staying focused and motivated. And I have here a little scenario. Curious whether this or something similar sounds familiar to you. So we have Hannah. Hannah's waking up. She looks at the to-do list. She was maybe even excited to make it the night before. But instead of tackling it, she decides to catch up on a show that she missed. She then updates her LinkedIn profile, and knowing Hannah, she's searching for vegan casserole recipes. There's Hannah now. She heard vegan casserole recipes, apparently. So does this sound familiar? You had a plan the day before, and then when the day comes, it's a little bit hard to stay focused and motivated to the list that you created. And so what are some ways that we can help stay focused and motivated? And I just put a whole bunch of them on the screen right here. It includes the 5 minutes. What can you do in 5 minutes? You can think about that 20-second rule. You can envision success. A lot of people think about what that success looks like. They think about how they're going to feel when they attain their goals. And then other people, they think about the cost of failing. And that keeps them motivated. That's me. The cost of failing helps keep me motivated. Other people chunk. They listen to music. They work as hard as they can to not be perfectionists. They find accountability buddies. They stay present in the moment. Lots of different ways that we can stay focused and motivated. I hope that this presentation has helped motivate you to avoid procrastination, to improve your time management skill set. I want to thank everyone for attending this session. I really appreciate your time. I know it's valuable. I have been answering some questions as they go into the chat, but if anyone does have a particular question, please feel free to put it into the chat. If I don't see any questions, Jillian, I'm happy for you to take over. I don't know if you have a way of ending sessions, but I'm happy to stay on to see if anyone has a question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jenna. Look forward to trying out some of those strategies myself later. I'm a major to-do lister, so but I got a few new ideas that I will have to give a try. So certainly during COVID times, I feel like there seems to be more things than time to do. So thank you. So yeah, like Jenna said, if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll sort of wrap up at this time. So just want to thank everyone for joining us today at our session. And, I hope everybody leaves with an action item that you can put to practice moving forward. So just a reminder, we do have some upcoming events that I do welcome you to attend. Next week on Wednesday, we're going to be doing a back-to-back resume and cover letter session just in time for the career fair that will be coming up on March 3rd. So hope to see you there if job searching is within your short or medium term goal, because we've got lots of employers that are looking to hire. So on that note, looks like there aren't any questions, Jenna. So I think that means you covered all of the topics. So thank you very much and hope everybody has a really great day.
Okay, thank you so much.